Hear me out. Keep going. Regardless of who might be eavesdropping, an authentic tale of betrayal. The rear seat of his vehicle swayed gently with each inhalation. I pressed my palms firmly against the moist leather heart, striking with such intensity that I feared someone outside might catch the sound. The streetlights arched overhead in warm yellow hues, casting their glow through the rain-smeared glass. He leaned in, his hands resting on the front headrests, his hips pressing against mine. I felt the intensity of his presence, overwhelming in this confined space, yet I remained seated, despite the enormity of it all. He advanced a fraction, then paused, uncertainty flickering in his mind. His voice emerged as a hushed rasp, lingering just behind me. Hear me out. Keep going, regardless of who may be hearing you. I pressed my teeth into my lip, savoring the metallic tang of copper. I had been aware that he was younger than 23, my daughter's friend from college, but until tonight, I had never realized how his presence could envelop me in a manner my husband's never had. His belt buckle brushed against my thigh. I arched my hips, silently inviting more. The rain tapped rhythmically on the roof, drowning out the soft friction of his jeans gliding against my own. The sweater adhered to my moist skin. The scent of pine and rainwater clung to his sweatshirt. My breaths quickened, each exhale escaping as a soft gasp against his neck. His hand glided beneath my shirt, fingertips exploring the gentle arc of my waist, soft and hesitant at first, then growing bolder, as though he worried I might vanish. I shut my eyes and reclined against him, my weight a heavy quiver. Lightning illuminated the car's interior in a stark, blinding white. He stood still, his forehead pressed against my temple, eyes shut tight, breath trembling. I clung to his shoulders, my nails lightly grazing, yearning for more than mere touch. As the light dimmed, he murmured, "I need you," and pressed further in. The pain sliced through with precision, only to dissolve into a lingering warmth that enveloped the senses. My head tilted back, a muffled moan lingering in the air between us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Your support means the world to us, and by subscribing, you'll never miss an update. Join our community and be part of the conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. He advanced with a cadence that was both pressing and precise, withdrawing, then thrusting forward until the boundary was smoothed over. The chair groaned under his burden. My fingers clutched the seatbelt buckle, a lifeline in the storm of uncertainty. Each stroke resonated with a duality, embodying a sense of both error and redemption, as though I were in the process of reclaiming a piece of myself that had slipped away. His name slipped from my lips, a whispered plea in the shadows. "Noah," I forced myself to swallow, battling the persistent ache within me. He leaned in, his lips gentle against my shoulder. The rain pelted against the windshield, while the wipers fought valiantly to sweep it away. Within that hazy corridor of illumination and liquid, the realm beyond faded into oblivion. I quivered in his presence, my body drawn tight like a coiled spring. As the coil finally gave way, a silent cry escaped my lips, muffled against his chest, while my legs trembled violently, causing his arms to ache from the effort of supporting me. He trailed off with a groan, a stillness settling within me as the tremors cascaded outward. I grasped his sweatshirt tightly, saturating it with tears that had caught me by surprise. He embraced me as I descended, a breath of tangled warmth enveloping every nerve. Behind us, the car engine ticked softly as it cooled, while somewhere in the distance, tires whispered against the wet asphalt. I breathed out softly onto his shoulder, the words carrying the weight of both fear and honesty. I never envisioned that I would step beyond this boundary. I am a 39-year-old woman, married to a traveling consultant who has not laid a hand on me in years, and the mother of a college-bound daughter who believes I hold the reins of the universe. Noah, my daughter's friend, the young man I've seen evolve over the years, arrived to mend the leak in my basement and lingered to alleviate my solitude. His kindness shattered the emptiness within me. Tonight, I allowed it to shatter me completely. What actions would you take if the person who reignited your spirit was youthful enough to befriend your daughter? My hands tremble still, marked by the imprint of his belt against my skin. The flavor in my mouth evokes the essence of rain, mingled with an undercurrent of longing. I have crossed the threshold from which there is no turning back. Before we delve further, I kindly ask you to like and subscribe. These tales may not resonate with all, yet if you've journeyed this far, you understand. As you delve deeper into their narratives, YouTube becomes increasingly attuned to your interests, revealing them to others who share your sentiments, thus ushering in a plethora of new tales for your enjoyment. The days meld together, weaving a tapestry of emptiness. The day breaks at 6, accompanied by the weary drone of the fridge and the monotonous click of the coffee pot. I fill 2 cups, one for myself and one for the vacant chair across from me, observing the steam dance upward in the softly lit kitchen. My husband has departed by 7, lost to the confines of airports and conference rooms that remain unseen to me. My daughter glides through the door, offering a swift farewell, earbuds nestled in her ears, her attention captivated by classes and friendships. I allowed the front door to shut quietly, the house retreating once more into a tranquil hush. In the quiet of the afternoon, I find myself amidst a sea of paperwork in the laundry room, bills, permission slips, art class registrations, while the dryer rhythmically thumps, coaxing wet towels into warmth and dryness. 3 months ago, Noah began to appear, delivering his father's toolbox after mending the leak in my basement. He would sweep the dust from his hands, flash a carefree grin, and inquire if I required assistance with the laundry baskets. I would gesture for him to leave, yet he would trail behind me up the stairs, his hands firmly gripping the basket's edge, engaging in conversation about my daughter's beloved television programs or the baking competitions he had participated in at local fairs. His voice exuded a serene calmness, providing a soothing counterpoint to the relentless hum of voicemail alerts and meeting notifications. In the evenings, I would heat leftover pasta in the microwave as the television beeped through a myriad of channels. Noah would give a gentle knock, standing framed in the doorway, his hood still glistening from the rain-soaked driveway. He would inquire, "Is there anything I can do?" And the resonance of that offer struck deeper than any vow. I would pass him the pot, its size too grand for a single watch, as his large fingers encircled the handle, beads of sweat forming on his brow, a thought lingering in my mind that I would never confess, that the idea of initiating a touch had indeed crossed my thoughts. In the hallway, I observed the way his boots clicked against the hardwood, creating a steady rhythm amidst the house's stillness. The fridge emitted a gentle hum, while the soft scrape of his knife against the cutting board accompanied the rhythmic chopping of vegetables beside me. Water dripped steadily from his hair as he dried it with my towel, and each small sound resonated like an invitation. He noticed the weary shadows beneath my eyes, the subtle way I moved when I believed no one was observing the mark on my wrist, a testament to the miscalculated force applied to a paint can. He never spoke of them, yet his eyes held a lingering intensity, as if etching the unseen details into his memory. On a stormy night, the rain hammered against the roof, and there he was at the sink, meticulously stirring coffee grounds into the brewer, steam wafted around his face, resembling a delicate halo. I lingered in the doorway, my bare feet pressed against the chill of the tile, yet he remained oblivious, not turning to acknowledge my presence. He simply offered me a mug, his gaze gentled. I held it gently, warmth flowing into my hands, and reflected on how long it had been since someone truly acknowledged me, not as a mere role to fulfill, but as an individual with desires. As the power flickered, a consequence of the breaker succumbing to the dryer's demands, I reached out for assistance. Moments later, Noah emerged, a toolbox clutched firmly in his grasp. He knelt to adjust the lamplight, casting his profile in a warm, golden glow. I lingered nearby, my heart racing with anticipation. His elbow grazed against mine, whether by chance or design, and a gentle warmth blossomed in my chest. I took a step back, my thoughts swirling with the limits I had already transcended. Now I traversed the house, attuned to the sound of his knock, the scrape of his boots, the warmth of his presence in spaces that have never felt so desolate. I ought to construct barriers, maintain separation, safeguard the remnants of my promises. Yet, with unwavering resolve, he arrives each day. The man, 2 decades my junior, extends his hand, presenting not just assistance but himself, and I find myself pondering how long I can maintain the facade that this void is solely mine to endure. The kitchen light flickered softly as he returned home that night. With my daughter at a friend's house and my husband away in Denver, I found myself rinsing the last coffee mug beneath the gentle hum of the faucet. His arrival took me by surprise. Noah's message hinted at a possible delay, yet the sound of his boots scraping against the tile rendered me motionless. He lingered in the doorway, towel in hand, his hood pushed back, wet curls cascading down and soaking into his collar. He remained silent, merely presenting me with that familiar, weary smile. I offered him the mug, and he dried it with his thumb, gently grazing my fingers in the process. A familiar spark ignited deep within me, and I inhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. We glided around one another with the grace of dancers. I seized the pot of soup simmering on the stove. He extended his hand toward the ladle. Our elbows brushed against each other. The warmth enveloped my senses. He placed the ladle in my hand, his fingers brushing against mine for a moment longer than necessary. "Be cautious," he murmured gently. That word resonated with a blend of consent and caution intertwined. Eventually, I discovered him lounging on the couch, the pages of my daughter's art book spread open across his lap. The television emitted a soft, subdued light. The only sound was the relentless ticking of the microwave clock. I lingered in the shadowy doorway, observing as he delicately traced brush strokes along the figures of the sketch, their motion lines bending with palpable emotion. He lifted his gaze at the sound of my approach. "May I offer my assistance?" he inquired, his voice barely above a whisper. I shrugged, my voice faltering. "It seems I might welcome some companionship." He gently patted the cushion beside him. Invitingly, I settled into my seat, my knees grazing against his thigh. The couch enveloped us in darkness. He shut the book, its spine creaking softly, and rested a hand on my knee, tentative and respectful. I chose to stay put. The refrigerator's hum intensified, intertwining with the gentle patter of rain on the windowpane. Silence enveloped us, yet I could sense his eyes fixed upon my face, observing, anticipating I end that silence. I came to understand the profound yearning within me to be recognized, not merely as a mother or a wife, but as Lauren, the woman whose laughter had dimmed, whose shoulders bore the weight of the everyday. Noah's grip on my knee grew firmer. I placed my hand gently atop his. His pulse danced beneath my palm, vibrant and insistent. I leaned in, my hip grazing against him, feeling the warmth that pulsed in the space between us. The following day, he lent a hand with the groceries. The late afternoon sun streamed through the sliding door, casting a warm glow on the dust motes that twirled gracefully in the light. We transported our bags to the counter, our arms grazing against one another with each stretch. He set a carton of milk on the table, his fingers brushing against the hem of my shirt. I started, stifling a gasp that threatened to escape. Apologies escaped his lips, a whisper as he recoiled, his eyes betraying a mix of surprise and uncertainty. My heart raced with intensity. I conjured a smile. "It's fine," I murmured, even as everything around me felt far from fine. That evening, I discovered him in the garage, absorbed in the delicate mechanics of my old bicycle. The solitary bulb above emitted a soft glow, stretching elongated shadows across the room. The rain tapped rhythmically against the metal roof, creating a symphony of sound that filled the air. He pivoted at my arrival, his hands busy with the task of wiping away the grease. "The chain was noisy," he remarked, extending a rag towards me. I accepted it, my thumb gliding over his palm. We were so near that the scent of oil clung to his shirt, enveloping us in an intimate haze. My chest constricted. "I appreciate it. I was able to handle it." He nodded, his gaze mapping the contours of my face, as if he had committed each line to memory. I departed from his presence, treading softly down the corridor, the sound of door clicks reverberating in my wake. In the reflection of the microwave door, I glimpsed my face, flushed and uncertain. I placed my palm against the cool surface of the glass, seeking some semblance of balance within myself. Yet deep within, I sense the inexorable pull of gravity drawing me nearer to him with each passing moment. Once more, the power flickered in the darkness of the night. I moved without a moment's pause. Assistance was summoned. Noah appeared by my side in mere moments, his toolbox swinging and a flashlight gripped firmly in his hand. We knelt beside the breaker's shoulders, our fingers brushing against the surface. He flicked the switch, illuminating the room, and I sensed the fragile thread connecting us fray. He gazed at me, breath held captive, and tucked a damp strand of hair behind my ear. I captured the heat of his hand, seeping through the fabric of my sweater. In the corridor that followed, we moved through the slender glow of the lamp. His hand grazed mine, a fleeting yet essential contact, just sufficient to kindle a spark. Our gazes intertwined, holding for a moment. Before he turned and walked toward the door in silence, I observed as the shadows enveloped him, while I remained solitary in the glow. Every day since has unfolded like a carefully orchestrated dance, where I find myself encountering him at the sink, exchanging fleeting glances in the living room, and brushing past one another in the dim glow of the hallway, illuminated solely by the soft lamplight. We feign that all remains the same, yet in truth, everything has shifted. The tension coils within my chest whenever he is near, a desperate ache for something I know I ought not to desire. On a particular night, I found myself gazing at my reflection once more, this time captured in the dark glass of the oven. My lips parted, my eyes gleaming with a mix of fear and yearning. I came to understand that I did not know her, a woman teetering on the brink of surrender, who had lost touch with the essence of limits. I twisted the clock's dial and stepped away, fully aware that it wouldn't be long before I found myself at his door once more, powerless to resist the pull. On a Tuesday, the skies were ominously clear, poised for the impending storms. The wind battered the windows, the gutter rattling ominously as if issuing a dire warning. With my husband away in Chicago and my daughter occupied at choir, I found myself pacing the living room. The television, silent yet illuminating, cast a dance of shifting shadows around me. The house resonated with emptiness, and I found myself unable to endure it any further. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Your support means the world to us, and by subscribing, you'll never miss an update. Join our community and be part of the conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Noah knocked at 9, his voice urgent. May I enter? I stepped into the downpour, a sense of urgency washing over me, as his drenched jacket clung to his toned frame. He made his entrance without so much as a nod to protocol. He stepped over the threshold, water cascading onto my rug, and pressed his lips against mine, slick with storm water and an undeniable spark. The briny flavor lingered on my tongue as I surrendered to the warmth of his embrace. He guided me toward the kitchen, his hands resting at my waist, breath warm against my skin. The cool tile beneath my bare feet sent a refreshing chill through me. He pushed me against the counter, the storm lantern flickering on the shelf above, casting us in an unsteady glow. I wrapped my arms around his neck, my nails brushing against the moist fabric of his shirt. He gently pushed my blouse aside, the chill of his skin meeting the damp fabric, igniting a sharp awareness within me. His hands enveloped my breasts, a tender touch that gradually transformed to a firm caress, fingertips exploring the delicate contours. My breath caught in my throat. I grasped the edge of the counter while he knelt to unclip my bra, his fingers brushing against the delicate curve of my rib. I sensed him ascend, the sound of his belt buckle clinking against his jeans, slipping into place. He paused for a brief moment, surveying the hallway, the windows, and the shadowy street that lay beyond. "Listen to me," he whispered, his lips grazing my earlobe. "Continue on, regardless of who may be hearing." I nodded, my chest constricted, heart pounding like a tempest against the howling wind. He entered me with a quickness, the dampness of the wood's edge, a biting warmth unfurling within. I inhaled sharply, my body curving toward him. His hands gripped my hips, anchoring me as he discovered a tempo that began gently, then grew profound and relentless. The corner of the counter grazed my thigh, piercing through the delicate fabric of my silk pajamas. I wrapped my legs around him, engulfed in a tempest of feeling. Lightning illuminated the scene, casting the kitchen in a fleeting brilliance, crockery gleaming on the shelves, steam wafting from an unattended pot, and the two of us, shadows entwined in a frantic dance. The rain pounded with increasing ferocity. He pushed forward once more, his cheek pressed against my back, sweat mingling with the raindrops cascading down his skin. My fingers found their way to his shoulders, pressing in with urgency, drawing him nearer. "Noah," I lamented, my voice strained. He seized it, a groan escaping his lips, each thrust a silent revelation. The clock on the Humfridge stove in the kitchen dimmed, overshadowed by the rhythm of my heartbeat. I held on to him as the boundaries faded away. The tension escalated, culminating in a world-tipping release that surged through me, leaving my knees trembling, hot and silent. He trailed behind with a low growl, plunging deep, then stilled, enveloping me in the aftermath. I quivered, my breath hitching in gentle sobs as I pressed against his chest. The lantern flickered and waned. The rain gently caressed the earth. He lifted me effortlessly, twirling me with grace, and pressed his lips against the glistening sheen of sweat on my shoulder. I lifted my hand, gently sweeping the damp strands away from his forehead. I made an attempt, yet the words shattered. His fingers brushed against my cheek. "You didn't intend." His voice trembled. I gently turned my head away from his hand. He pressed his lips gently against my hairline. "Then stay," he whispered. "Remain by my side." I closed my eyes, tasting storm and fear and need all at once. We adorned ourselves in quietude, the dampness lingering close. Beyond the threshold, beams of light danced across the grass. His truck stood at the curb, a silent sentinel in the bustling street. He lingered at the threshold, his fingers brushing against the door handle set into the frame. I trailed behind him into the open air, the rain enveloping us in a serene silence. He pressed his lips to mine once more, a blend of tenderness and urgency, before vanishing into the shadows of the night. Isolated on the porch, I leaned into the wooden surface, my thoughts swirling in a frantic dance. The tempest howled outside, yet within me, there was a profound stillness. What lingered was the echo of his presence, the softness of his words, and the realization that I had ventured into a territory from which there was no return. The following morning, I stirred to the sound of dripping gutters and the soft echo of my own breath. The kitchen light blazed, its intensity cutting through the fog that clouded my thoughts. I splashed cold water over my face, droplets dancing onto the counter, and gazed at my reflection, eyes weary, skin flushed, a clammy sheen enveloping me. I had never experienced such a profound sense of alertness. My daughter tumbled down the stairs, a yawn escaping her lips as she inquired about breakfast. I infused my voice with a forced cheer as I flipped pancakes from the griddle. She remained oblivious to the tremor in my hands, or the way I averted her gaze. The house buzzed with a symphony of clatter, yet to me, each sound resonated like charged silverware scraping against plates. The sound of her footsteps echoed on the hardwood floor, while the fridge emitted a low hum, reminiscent of a distant warning. By the break of dawn, Noah's truck had vanished. I leaned my forehead into the mist that swirled between us, envisioning him racing away, his headlights swallowed by the rain-soaked streets. The ache in my chest mirrored the void he had created in his absence. That afternoon, I tucked his sweatshirt away in the laundry basket, the faint trace of his scent clinging to the sleeve. My husband arrived home early, the meeting canceled, his shoes clicking against the foyer floor. He enveloped me in his embrace, inquiring softly if I felt the chill. I nodded, my voice barely above a whisper. He embraced me without my knowledge. The cloth that separated us still retained the warmth of the midnight hour. The evenings became increasingly intolerable. I prepared dishes that I scarcely savored. Folded sheets I dared not touch, for they brought back memories of the counter's edge digging into my thighs. In the garage lay Noah's tools, the wrench he had wielded on the breaker and the flashlight he had carried when the power flickered. Every one served as a poignant reminder. On Wednesday, I stumbled upon a message from him that had gone unread. "It is imperative that we engage in a conversation." I gazed at the words, a wave of guilt surging within me. I composed my thoughts in written form. Did I apologize? I am unable to do that. Subsequently, it was erased. I allowed the message to linger, untouched and unanswered, fully aware that he would sense the sting of rejection even before I pressed send. In the stillness of that night, the power vanished. The gas lines flickered at the stove, while the clock flashed its empty zeros. I reached out to my husband for assistance. With a weary sigh, he donned his coat. From my vantage point by the window, I observed as he ventured into the biting cold. Then I caught sight of Noah as he slipped around the corner, shrouded in the shadows that swallowed the streetlight's glow. My heart raced with fervor. Noah discovered me in the garage, flashlight clutched tightly, concern carved into his features. I caught wind of his words, a breath made manifest in the chill of the air. He sank to one knee beside the breaker, deftly flipping switches with purpose. The lights flickered back to life, and I found myself rooted to the spot, guilt gathering like a heavy mist at my feet. He fixed his gaze upon me. "Why won't you answer?" he inquired gently. I averted my gaze. I whispered, for it was a mistake. He gave a slight shake of his head. "It simply wasn't meant for me," he advanced with measured intent. The distance that once separated us dissolved into nothingness. Yet, just as his hand reached out, I retreated, creating distance between us. The voice falters. "This is simply not possible." His shoulders drooped, heavy with an unseen weight. "I am aware." He abandoned the tools on the workbench and vanished into the night, silent and unspoken. On Thursday morning, my daughter discovered me in tears at the sink. Her hand rested on my shoulder, delicate yet assured. "Are you all right?" she inquired. I shook my head, a bitter taste of shame lingering on my tongue. Simply, allergies. She had faith in my words. I pondered the duration for which I could maintain this hidden truth. On Friday, I discarded the sweatshirt. It slipped into the dumpster lurking behind the garage, a realm of cold shadows and darkness. The orange flicker of the flashlight slowly disappeared from view. I anticipated a sense of relief, yet the atmosphere resonated with a profound emptiness. During that evening's meal, my husband extended his hand toward mine, bridging the distance between us across the table. I withdrew, his brow furrowed. "I've missed you," he confessed. I choked down the guilt that clawed at my throat. "I have been busy," I responded, my voice echoing with emptiness. He nodded, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Once the children had succumbed to slumber, I found myself wandering into the living room. The television emitted a soft, subdued light. I envisioned Noah standing there instead, beside me, offering comfort and understanding from someone I ought not to long for. A tumult brewed within my stomach. I reassured myself that I was on the path to healing. However, this could be a different sort of injury. On a Saturday morning, sunlight filtered through the bedroom blinds, casting stripes of light upon the tousled sheets. I remained motionless, attuned to the rhythmic cadence of my husband's breath, beside me, unwavering and blissfully unaware. My thoughts drifted back to that night in the garage, where Noah's flashlight cut through the shadows, and I could still sense the warmth of his hands resting on my waist. Guilt gnawed at the very marrow of existence. Breath eluded me. With a quiet grace, I emerged from the warmth of my bed, draping a robe around my shoulders as I glided down the hallway. The silence in the house was almost palpable. In the kitchen, the silverware shimmered in the sink. The refrigerator emitted a soft, persistent hum. I placed a mug of coffee on the counter, my hands trembling so fiercely that I almost lost my grip. My daughter stormed in, her hair soaked and wrapped in a towel. Noah's father reached out to his mother. "Have you managed to repair the basement?" Her brow furrowed in discontent. "The rain has returned once more." My stomach plummeted. I conjured a smile. "I shall reach out to someone." She glided by, the phone pressed to her ear. Noah's father remains oblivious to the intricacies of repairs, as well as to the hidden truths we shared. I observed her departure, my heart racing with each passing moment. The burden of our concealed moments clung to the perspiration on my skin, the sultry murmur in the car, the pang in my heart. That afternoon, I glimpsed Noah on his father's porch, just across the street. He grasped a rolled-up tarp, ready for the basement leak emergency. Our gazes locked with his, a reflection of worry and shame echoing my own. He entered the house unannounced. Water cascades from the raincoat onto the tile below. My husband returned home early once more, standing behind me with a furrowed brow. "Who is present?" he inquired. My tongue felt heavy and unwieldy. Noah's father requested assistance. I maintained my composure as Noah addressed me. "Ma'am, the leak has worsened." My husband acknowledged with a nod, yet remained still. His eyes darted between us, a silent air of suspicion lingering in the space. With quiet precision, Noah mended the pipe, the metallic drip of water and the clank of tools resonating louder than our shared heartbeats. As he completed his task, he turned to me over the countertop, his gaze searching for reassurance, perhaps even an unspoken apology. I silently expressed my apology. He offered a slight shake of his head before reaching for his coat. My husband cleared his throat, a subtle prelude to the words that were about to unfold. "Allow me to handle the bill," he declared. With a subtle nod, Noah took a step back and departed, the door shut with a finality that sent a wave of silence crashing down around me. My husband's gaze was a mystery, impenetrable and enigmatic. What was the reason for not reaching out to a plumber? He inquired. My eyes refused to find his. I truly believed I could manage it. The deception lingered on the palate, sharp and acrid. That evening, we gathered around the dining table, illuminated by the solitary glow of the overhead bulb. The tension hung in the air, a palpable force that cut through the space between our plates. My husband shifted his chair to meet my gaze. "Lauren, is there something you're keeping to yourself?" His voice quivered, a blend of pain and bewilderment. My lips parted, but the words were ensnared in a web of confusion. "No," I murmured, though my voice faltered, his hand extended, lingering just above mine, a gesture that stirred both longing and trepidation within me. I withdrew. "I require some distance," I declared, standing up. He observed my departure, fists tightened, knuckles pale as snow. I dashed down the corridor, the walls reverberating with the sound of my escape. Eventually, I found myself seated on the front porch, gazing up at the vast expanse of the night sky. The streetlight flickered above, while the wind whispered through the rustling leaves. The faint glow emanating from my daughter's window above cast a gentle light. I wrapped my robe tightly around myself, my body resonating with remnants of warmth and a fresh wave of anxiety. The driveway lay barren, marked only by the faint traces of Noah's truck tires, carved into the gravel. A car door slammed shut behind me, my husband standing at the threshold. He lingered, coat clutched tightly in his grasp. "Sleep eluded me," he confessed. His voice carried a gentle hush. I pivoted, poised to flee. Yet, he raised a solitary yellow Daisy Jacobs wildflower, a token from months past. He mentioned it was in the living room, nestled within your favorite vase. He halted, his gaze probing into my own. "May we engage in a conversation?" My throat constricted around. "I am no longer the person you believe me to be." In that moment, I extended my hand toward his. We lingered beneath the flickering glow of the streetlight, the driver's side door ajar, as the rain-damp air sent a chill creeping down our spines. He grasped my fingers, a tender ache coursing through them. "I must know where you've been," he whispered. I gazed over the yard, my eyes landing on Noah's window, which loomed in shadow. The rhythm of my heartbeat echoed in my ears. The man for whom I had crossed boundaries was absent, vanished before the first light of dawn, leaving me to confront the aftermath. My husband's hand felt like fire in mine, the sole tether I had remaining. Apologies escaped my lips, my voice trembling with emotion. Yet I must share it all with you. Behind us, the front door stood ajar, a warm yellow light spilling onto the porch. Within rested the echoes of my hidden truth, the whispered remorse, the silent desire. The house lingered in silence as we crossed its threshold once more, two souls teetering on the brink of disarray. It was never my intention for things to unfold this way. He was never supposed to hold significance for me. Yet, for a fleeting evening, I recalled the sensation of being caressed as though I truly exist. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Your support means the world to us, and by subscribing, you'll never miss an update. Join our community and be part of the conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you.